Welcome to Unspoiled, Unscrupled Edition. This week we're doing Buffy the Vampire Slayers, Episode 3, Season 1. Yeah, that's right, I did it backwards. Witch. In this episode, Buffy becomes a cheerleader, and then not a cheerleader. Welcome to Unspoiled.
Wolf howl, drum beat.
Woot.
Yeah, the theme song is a little harsh is the word. So
yeah, but it was, 1996.
Yeah,
everything else was alternative. And
I
Alanis
saw
Morissette.
the date on something in this
whiteboard
episode.
for
Yeah,
tryouts.
and everything's starting to make a little more sense. I didn't realize it was that old. I thought it was like 98, 99.
Oh,
but-
no. Buffy pretty much graduates right when I do. Yeah. But yeah, Buffy pretty much graduated when I did.
Okay, yeah. Well, is she a freshman or a sophomore or a junior now?
I think she's a sophomore in this because her freshman year was when she got expelled from her other high school.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Then she'd be the year between us then.
Maybe. Oh, a 99er.
Yeah, I'm an 00er.
And I'm a 98.
Okay. So I did not hate this episode. Surprisingly.
Hey, good.
I don't know what it was. I feel like this episode was a lot more aware and didn't try to set up the really high stakes of the last one.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of knew what it was and proceeded accordingly. It's still kind of straddling that line between a comic book and a children's cartoon, but
Okay.
I'm kind of okay with that in that it's, I don't know, it just feels a little more natural this time around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not stretching for darkness this time. They're just going with it.
Yeah. So I didn't hate it. I would never, it's not an episode that would get me to watch the next one, but
Oh, yeah.
unless I was really, really high. But I'm a little mad at 2004 money that he didn't watch the next one. But then we wouldn't be here. So
It's true. I don't know. There's so many of my jokes over the years that you have not laughed at because you didn't understand the reference. So I think I might be mad at that money too for not just forging ahead and embracing the buff. But
I was coming out of the closet. It was a hard time for me. Okay.
okay, I feel ya. Coming out is not easy, guys. We used to have entire what were they called? Panels about that at our college, where you would get like a bunch of queers to come to your classroom and sit there non-threateningly and tell you, that we're people. It's a good time.
Although
they call it Speakers Bureau.
They really need to have a Speakers Bureau for witches because this episode was not kind to witches.
No, it wasn't.
Or women or cheerleaders. It's just like nobody comes out of this looking good except for Giles.
No, Giles comes out of it looking kind of stodgy and not willing to let Buffy have a life.
Yeah, but he actually does something. So it's normally that character archetype is like going to give her instructions and tell her what to do, and that's really it. But he really seems to like grab shit by the horns and actually take care of everything. So I like that. It's really against type for that character trope, and I kind of liked it. But
okay.
We're veering all over the fucking place. Where are we starting, bitches? Because you're the expert here.
Let's start at the beginning.
I hear it's a very good place to start.
It is indeed. So, let's see. I think we began in the library. Buffy walks in. Giles is appalled, stammering, being so British. And we finally find out why after a moment, and we turn and see Buffy in a cheerleading uniform.
And do you remember that kind of cheerleading boom we had in movies and TV in the late 90s?
Oh yeah, with Bring It On and like just every high school movie, and there were so many.
Yeah, it was trying to make cheerleading respectable, and I kind of, at the time, being in high school, I was a little apprehensive. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm like, this is a hard thing that women do, and they are chronically underpaid and treated like shit, and they really should be treated like professionals because what they do is athletics, but it's still, they were really trying to elevate it, but not in the right way. They were trying to have it be a sports movie thing rather than the we are workers and you should fucking pay us. But
well, it was high school cheerleading, so no one gets paid in high school, right? And so yeah, they did make it about the athleticism of it and the fact that it is, you know, gymnastics and all of these things. It's actual sport. It's not just, you know, shouting and high kicks, I guess. But yeah, I do feel where you're coming from, that perhaps they could have focused on, you know, equality in these things.
Oh, the 90s was not very big on equality. This was the Clinton years, and we were all about super predators, and Wall Street ruled the day, and the 90s was the 80s deserves a lot of shit, but I don't think we realize how racist and sexist the 90s were. We kind of give it a pass.
Yeah. I do think of it as a different time. We were much less aware. We were trying to be less aware. Like, we were actively ignoring stuff. But it was also, like, you know, filled with homophobia, too. So, you know, there's, like, all kinds of shit that was going on in the 90s. But I look back on it as a golden era because I was a teenager and wore flannel and had Alanis Morissette, and that's all I needed.
I was in military school, so I would be okay with the entire memory of the 90s being wiped.
Yeah, you did not yet make your escape. I had already made one of my escapes. So, but anyway, back to the focus. Cheerleading. Buffy wants to be one. Giles is appalled.
Yeah, I don't get why the adults are being so fucking judgy about this shit. This is what you fuckers grew up reading Archie. This is what he lusted after. This is what girls could aspire to.
Yeah, but okay, so Giles, I feel like, is the mouth, especially in these early episodes, is the mouthpiece for Joss's secret opinions, and it's that, you know, cheerleading is where the vapid girls go. The interesting, talented ones shouldn't. But then he likes to turn his own prejudices on their head, and like, well, Buffy wants to do it, and she's the specialist. So, and
Okay.
it's also yet another way for Buffy to press against the whole you're the Slayer and only the Slayer idea, and say, I want to be a girl with my own life.
I did get a lot of that.
that.
She doesn't want what fate. She doesn't want the cards that fate is trying to deal, and that was one of the high points of this episode, when it's like Buffy actively trying to do something other than participate on her hero's journey.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it's more than just she doesn't want the cards that were dealt. She wants to be more than just the cards that are dealt. You know,
Right.
they're like, they keep saying, "Oh, you're the Slayer," and she's like, "I can be the Slayer and a cheerleader. Fuck you. I can do both things. I'm very talented."
But I gotta say that when
Yeah.
we open on the cheerleading tryouts,
Mhm.
I got real fucking confused because they introduced two characters called Amy and Amber.
Okay.
With all the whiteness going on, you need to differentiate their names a little bit better. Although, I think Amber was the one who was actually dancing to the song that I had a reaction to.
Oh, was she the one who turned down the Laker girls or whatever?
I don't remember about the Laker girls. I remember her
Did she
catching
catch
fire.
on fire?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's her.
All right.
Okay.
One.
Oh, by the way, Laker girls also don't get paid very much. Like they're on food stamps, guys.
Oh yeah.
They're not skinny because they can't have food. Anyway.
This is why all the cheerleaders are paid less than minimum wage. So it's disgusting.
They need to unionize. Seriously, there needs to be a cheerleaders union.
Yeah, and
I think that would be amazing.
But this bitch catches fire. But before this bitch catches fire, she's 30 at least.
Oh, I was seeing that.
And she's not that good a dancer. I'm like, I get that you have budget, but I mean, we saw Bring It On where, they brought in the body doubles and they would zoom out for the dance numbers so you couldn't see it was not Kirsten Dunst and Eliza Dushku doing that, but it wasn't that impressive. And it might have been the editing because she didn't seem to really do it with the sound, which was clearly playing in universe. Am I making any sense?
I think so. Keep going.
It's just, it was off. It was an off day for her. And I want to blame it on the editing because the woman dancing is clearly talented, but I didn't get the kind of cheerleader energy that they were trying to say, that this woman is unstoppable and all of you bitches should be afraid. I did not get that from her.
I'm both proud and appalled that you have not mentioned that this could possibly be because it's the whitest town in California.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen white girls move, so.
I have too. Boy, have I. But yeah.
I feel like this was below the standards of even white girl.
Okay.
And not from a skill standpoint, just from a choreography standpoint.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So it took a long time for them to find choreographers that work in this show. I'll just throw that out there. I have no shame with that. But yeah, I got the fire, but I was listening to the music and not actually watching her dance because I've seen this 7 times.
Yeah, I thought it was the Mortal Kombat theme song, but then I went back and dug in the bowels of YouTube to find the very first video I ever watched, and it's not. It's just very specifically close.
Yeah, it's not the Mortal Kombat song. It's just, I think it's got like a similar beat or something. But, there were a lot of songs that sounded like that in the 90s, and they all seemed to be used as background tracks for dancing.
Yeah. And
high energy.
Yeah, the sports rally kind of bullshit that we got a lot of in high school. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there fewer teen movies now? Because I feel like there aren't any teen movies anymore.
I feel like we can go to R-rated movies now, and we have interests that, I would have been totally fucking afraid to go to Lord of the Rings or Marvel because I was at that place where, how teenagers are. If there's someone they don't like that they want to pick on, they're going to find anything and use it to say, oh, this means you're stupid. So I was really afraid to have any opinion that was not validated by anyone else. See what I'm getting at? So now I have that freedom to actually evaluate things on whether or not I like them.
Okay. And in the past you couldn't have gone to the movies that may have piqued your interests, and you would have had to go to horrible teen movies that we hate?
That's another reason I probably was not watching Buffy.
Ooh, okay, yeah. It's a girls' show.
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Yeah, there were things I liked that I did under the table, and one of them was fantasy novels. But there were things that I did not let myself get into. I can see your face. Did I lose you?
Only for a minute, and only because I'm messing with my buttons. Sorry.
Okay.
No, not those buttons.
So, yeah, I've kind of gone onto a little tangent, and it makes a lot of sense now that I think about it that way of why I missed so many. I think Harry Potter may have been just on the edge of that.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So.
Well, it came out when the first Harry Potter book came out when I was 20 or so 2000.
I was 18.
So yeah, that would.
I was 18 then.
Okay, yeah, so.
It was right around.
Yeah, you can't be caught reading a kid's book.
I know, that would have, yeah.
Social suicide. Okay, so moving along. They
The
go
bitch
to
catches fire.
Bitch Catches Fire. Yeah, there's really not a lot except for like Buffy trying to bond with her mom and her mom being completely preoccupied, which is just Okay, we've all been that kid. So yeah, we move forward. Bitch catches on fire. Buffy puts her out because she's the only one who thinks about this stuff. And then they have more tryouts, and Buffy and Amy end up as first and third alternate.
I think it was first and second.
No, Buffy had first alternate and Amy had third. I just watched it.
Okay. I thought I did too. Anyway, yeah, so let's go back into Buffy's mom. So Buffy's mom is apparently a curator of a museum?
Yes.
Or is it an art gallery? I don't remember.
It's an art gallery, I think, because there's money involved.
Okay, so she's
And like
getting
galas.
she's getting pieces delivered to her house, which she opens in the kitchen, not in the garage or the living room. She actually drags these heavy fucking boxes into the kitchen, where she's got this giant ass island.
They only have so many sets. Money.
Okay.
They have a kitchen, they have Buffy's room, they have school, and they have the bronze, and that's what they have. If you walk through
the kitchen door, you end up in the nightclub because there's...
Yeah, probably. But yeah, they didn't have a lot of sets yet. Wait, eventually, they get a living room.
All right, I feel, wow, there's a metaphor in there somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, she's totally open and stuff, and Buffy rips a crate apart with her bare hands, which is fun.
I feel like she needs to, before too long, she needs to bring her mom into this. Like she lets it slip, and mom kind of like wasn't paying attention because that's what mom does. Mm-hmm. But I feel like she and Giles need to sit her down and say, okay, this is what's going on. Here's the stuff, and come out, have some proof, and say, this is why I burned down my last high school, and there's going to be a lot of dangerous shit happening, and you're not going to know about it, and you need to know that when I'm going somewhere that seems weird, I'm dealing with something, right? They need to have a don't ask, don't tell conversation. They need to have a don't ask, don't tell conversation.
It's like, Mom, I'm afraid to tell you this. Don't worry, Buffy. I'll always love you, no matter what. I know you and your friend Willow have gotten very close lately. Mom, that's not it. Yeah, it would be a quality conversation to have right now. But that was not this episode.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Do you think that's going to happen?
Unless they kill Mom, I don't see how else. Well, I don't know. Maybe like the show went on for 7 seasons, right? She's going to graduate at some point and be on her own. Maybe it doesn't need to happen.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
Don't
together.
lie. You can say
I'm going to lie to you so many times. So many times am I going to lie to you during the course of this thing and say, I don't know. But I do know.
Yes, you do know. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like it would be a productive conversation, but at the same time, she doesn't want her mom up in all her shit. Like, your shit, my shit. Right?
And ignorance is bliss, especially for parents. Imagine, like, okay, I never got into any trouble as a teenager because I was terrified, but I can imagine that if I was getting in trouble, my family should probably not know because they would have worried, and I don't want them to worry. I want them to be safe and secure in the fact that I was incredibly boring. Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Yeah. And, what kid doesn't want that for their mom? Just don't worry about me. Everything's fine.
But Mom is clearly just not paying attention either.
Yeah, which is kind of weird when your kid just got expelled and you had to move to a different town to avoid the shame.
I thought it was odd, but I chalked it up to maybe Mom is just not very good at paying attention. I mean, she's clearly single. She's got a lot of shit going on, and she seems pretty independent, so she kind of, like, lets Buffy deal with most of her own shit.
Yeah. And, she's got this new job that she really has to make work. Otherwise, they're, getting a one-bedroom apartment on the bad side of town.
Is there a bad side of Rancho Cucamonga?
Yeah, they mentioned in the first episode it's about 2 blocks away from the good side.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay, where people are slightly less white. Is that what's going on?
Yes, they have tans. From the sun.
All right. So cheerleading tryouts, and then we missed it was between was it between Buffy and Amy, or Willow and Amy, where they have the conversation in front of the trophy cage?
I think that was Willow and Buffy and Willow telling Buffy, it's like, yeah, Amy's cool. We used to chill in middle school, and her mom was kind of Nazi, like, yeah, that's it exactly. So yeah, because I think that's when Willow was totally filling Buffy in on the intricacies of fellow students' home lives.
Yeah, I'm a little. It was a big red flag that Mom was going to be a big deal here.
Okay, red flag in what way?
I kind of saw it coming, that either Amy is a witch trying to be a witch, to please, and using spells to make her mom happy, or Mom was the witch and she was casting spells on Amy's opponents so that she could vicariously live through her daughter.
Okay.
So neither of those were true. So,
yeah, how did you feel about that? Did you call the twist?
I did call it. Like, as soon as I saw them, well, I was a little confused when Amy gets home and says, you need to write a history paper. And I was like, okay, so Amy is abusing her mom, because the idea entered my head that they had switched bodies, but
okay,
Amy's not qualified to write a history paper if she's not going to school.
Maybe she has books.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe. Because, I mean, I never ever listened to any of my teachers in high school. I just read the textbooks, and I got A's on all the tests. I mean, I still got C's overall because I didn't do homework. But, if I could read, I could learn the thing, and then the teachers had to shut up.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
I think
that kind of threw me off. But the body swap thing, like, I figured that out pretty before Buffy did. The brownies were just confirmation of it.
Okay.
And also the parental body shaming and eating disorder pushing was probably the most horrifying thing I've seen on screen in a while. And I'm shocked at how blasé we treated that shit in the 90s.
Yeah. Like, okay, so the first time I watched it, I didn't even notice it, but this time when Willow sees Amy for the first time that we see, and she's like, oh, wow, you're trying out for cheerleading? Because you've lost a lot of weight. It's like, wow, girls don't say that in that tone to each other. There was something about that was really off. It's like, yeah, you used to be a really fat pig.
Yeah, I got that feeling, and so, but, yeah, so I kind of felt for Amy.
Oh, yeah. No, all of the things happening with that family, and when you find out, like, exactly who Amy is, Amy has had some fucked up shit happen, yo.
That is very true. So, the truth is that, so Amy has cast a bunch of spells. She's cast a, Amber caught on fire, which Amber took an incredibly long time to notice that she was on fire.
Well, she was focused on dancing badly and trying to find the beat.
Where's that beat?
Where is it?
Where?
So she used both hands and a flashlight, ba-dum-bum.
Okay, so Amber never makes it onto the team because she catches fire during auditions, right?
Right.
And then Cordelia has a freak out moment in that ugly ass green thing that it's so hideous that it kind of shoots the moon and becomes rad.
Oh,
Do you
that's
know what I'm
Cordelia.
talking about?
Yes. Well, and if anyone's going to pull that off, it's Cordelia.
Yeah, Cordelia
She's
does pull
that
it
guy.
off, but I'm like, oh, girl, that looks like shit that they make the space shuttle out of.
It reminds me of that one girl that I dated that you hated so much. She had this, like, lace shawl thing, and it looks like grandma's doily, right? But somehow she puts it on, and it's this elegant thing, and it absolutely drove one of our friends nuts that that this pretty girl had that power to just, wear something that's on its own frankly hideous and make it look beautiful and elegant.
Okay, don't break up with me. Which girl that I hated?
The one that didn't like me very much.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
The one that, like you two were trying out for an episode of The L Word.
She liked it when I paid attention to her.
Yes, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I knew you would.
So.
But yeah. Yeah, she had this way of taking clothing that should not have been awesome and just making it look like it was made for her. And Cordy does that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cordelia can kind of do that, and I'm kind of seeing the draw to her. There was a lot less of her being mean girl and more her being flippant. So
yeah.
I'm getting a real hard time figuring out what drives her and how she works.
Yeah, a vapid shell of rich girl, she's also incredibly poised and sharp.
Uh-huh.
She is a conundrum. Mm-hmm.
So I need her to kind of solidify into someone who has an actual personality and is not just. I feel like the writers, not an archetype. It's like she's got all these different, distinct types of rich, pretty girl that I need her to kind of settle on one.
Okay. See, most of the rich girls I've known haven't been pretty, and most of the pretty girls I've known haven't been rich. So I don't know the type very well.
Well, it's when we first get introduced to her, she's like, she's kind of smarmy, and she looks like she's bringing Buffy under her wing, and then she kind of offhandedly calls Willow a loser, but then later in the computer lab, she gets actively hostile and sorts of like seems to enjoy causing pain in front of others, which are two similar but very distinct ways of behaving as a mean girl.
Okay.
See what I'm getting at?
Yeah. Although now I want you to write up all the different kinds of mean girls and describe them in detail and have a whole glossary of them.
I
know you're not going to, but I want you to someday.
Started. So.
Pay you for an hour of your time.
Yes.
So okay. So yeah, Cordelia is she's still evolving, I feel, in the third episode.
And now she's kind of hyper competitive and rude, but not mean. It's like they've
dialed her back a bit.
I don't know about that. She's no longer actively taking pleasure in others' pain, which is what she was doing to Willow.
Okay.
And maybe it's just she likes doing that to Willow, but here it felt like this was hyper competitive and how dare you be in my space rather than I love being a bitch to you and I want to make you cry in front of everyone. So.
I feel like maybe the thing she did to Willow was to posture for Buffy.
That's very, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a valid theory. So I know you can't tell me who she actually is yet, but I don't feel the writers have decided yet.
Okay. Seems legit. Okay, so moving forward, since Cordelia has been such a nasty person to Amy and Buffy and just anyone in her general vicinity, she, of course, is the next to suffer the wrath of success.
which involves her driving the wrong way over the driver's ed course. And we learn that Cordelia has failed driver's ed several times.
Yes, we do. Yes, indeed, we do. I wonder how she does in school in general.
From the Joss Whedon playbook, I've seen a lot of his later work, but I don't think he's particularly fond of the stupid pretty girl type. So I would suspect that Cordelia probably does fine.
Okay.
But that's me projecting. Maybe Joss hadn't grown out of his bullshit trope phase yet. So enough about Cordelia. I kind of want to go over the roster of cheerleaders, and then I couldn't tell if she was Asian or not. Her mouth closes.
Yeah, she was the token Asian girl, because every California school has a few. And yeah, they're in biology class and trying to figure out if Amy is the witch, because at this point they have figured out that there is a witch involved, and that Amy is probably it because of the stuff she has said about, really wanting to be on the team and being kind of hyper-focused on it. And so they do a test. They do some chemistry, and they apparently brew some Eye of Newt and other stuff. And the chemistry...
But it doesn't have to be an actual newt. Apparently they can use a frog, and that's just fine. So...
Yeah.
I wonder, is there like a high-end hipster witch cookbook that says, sorry, no substitutions?
Yeah, only full-grown, organic, cruelty-free, gluten-free newts.
This is a deconstructed polyjuice potion.
Oh, God. With the balsamic glaze.
We are terrible. Sorry, listeners.
I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry even a little bit. But anyway, so yeah, they brew up this stuff that's supposed to turn blue on the witch's skin if she's, cast a spell recently.
Uh-huh.
And while Buffy is getting the hair to do this, something's amiss, and we feel tension rising. We think it's because they're about to do the thing. And maybe it is, but also while they're doing the thing and proving that Amy has been doing some witchcraft, yeah, Asian girl's mouth just fuses together, and she flips shit, because who wouldn't?
She rightfully flips shit, but why does no one else afterwards say, that was really fucked up?
I think because they're kind of used to really fucked up shit happening.
Okay. I mean...
Yeah. Just like, this is Thursday in Sunnydale. Sometimes it gets fixed, sometimes it doesn't. You say, oh, that poor girl, and think, I wonder if my parents are willing to move yet.
Okay. I've already said I don't like this part of the show where everyone just treats it as like, no one wants to talk about that really fucked up thing that just happened. So, so Asian girl is out, and that's right. So that's why, so that's two that are down, and Buffy's the one who replaces Cordelia.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. So she still needs to take out one more.
Right. And who does she set her sights on to take down?
She sets her sights on Buffy, and so Buffy has a giant sugar craving in the morning, and gets some mouth diarrhea.
Yeah, man, Buffy cannot hold her witchcraft, not even a little.
Yeah, I've never understood the people who keep a bowl of fruit on the kitchen counter, because cats will knock it down, or sit in it, which is even worse.
They don't have cats.
Yeah, I'm still paranoid. I can't leave fruit out because I'm afraid a cat will get into it, because that's what they do.
You don't own cats either.
I know, but
you have to let it go. You're free now. Be free, young man.
Did I tell you there's some trash kittens on my way to work?
Oh, no.
Yeah, one of them's Siamese.
Oh, man. I am so over kittens right now. Girlfriend has a tiny baby kitty, and we have to, bathe him and give him medicine, and it's work, and cats aren't supposed to be work. Cats are supposed to disdain you, and that is all and I love him, but oh man, does he smell like poop sometimes.
Yeah. Do you have to help him poop?
No, he can poop on his own. He just can't really, like, he keeps getting constipated and then pooping like an explosion and not being big enough to like clean himself. So I've given him a lot of baths.
Well, just make sure you're rubbing behind his ears while you're touching his paws, so that when he grows up and you have to cut his nails, he's not afraid of you touching his paws. So that was a problem with me and Cleo.
I will keep that in mind. Yeah.
When they're really young, you need to make them trust you touching their paws, because Cleo was not having it.
Well, usually I piss him off by running the hairdryer on him, so yeah.
But next time you're cuddling, just make sure that you give his paws some love while you're giving his ears some love, so that he learns to trust that you're not going to bite him there and hurt him in this very vulnerable place.
Okay. This has been Hot Kitten Talk with Bitches and Money. Tune in next time when we talk about deworming.
How did we get to kittens? Oh, the fruit bowl. Because Buffy's having a sugar craving and is getting very close to a diabetic coma. So
yeah. Well, it's just juice. But yeah, I actually really love this part. She's so cute, just like, yeah, I feel the urge to cheer and lead others to cheer. She's quite clever.
Yeah, I liked that, and I really wish that Sarah Michelle Gellar had a more stage presence-y actor to work off of, because she kind of overpowers everyone here.
Yeah, she's incredibly talented, and I feel I was kind of sad that she didn't really have much career after this, because she's just real good. But after 7 seasons on a show, it's hard for anyone to see you as anything else.
Well, she did a lot of horror movie stuff, but I know Alison Hannigan is capable of it. I've seen her. She's a fantastic actress. I'm not sure about anyone else. I think Cordelia might be, but they don't really give anyone but Buffy anything to really chew on.
Okay. Well, we'll go forward and see how that goes.
Okay. Yeah, I really hope Buffy gets someone, or Sarah Michelle Gellar gets someone close to her acting caliber so she can do something.
Wow, you said something nice about Sarah Michelle Gellar. I am standing here beside myself.
I was a fan of Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Excellent.
We're
going to get along.
I know what you did last summer. I watched The Grudge.
What about Cruel Intentions?
I watched Cruel Intentions. Holy shit.
I actually really like that movie.
I hate myself for liking that movie so much.
I know!
It's so stupid.
It's so pretty. It's Dangerous Liaisons, only cut down for teenagers.
Yeah, there were a lot of really... And it works. I mean, there was 10 Things I Hate About You, and the teen movie for these weird kind of ancient stories, because of, they only work in high school because high school is like the last place that still has those arbitrary rules that don't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah.
So, like, Jane Austen and whoever wrote Dangerous Liaisons and the horrifying Taming of the Shrew, those don't work outside of high school,
Huh.
There was a whole movement of Shakespeare high school too. There was 10 Things I Hate About You, which is to date the only successful adaptation of Taming of the Shrew, because even for its time it was wildly misogynistic. But then there was which came a couple years later, and Romeo and Juliet, of course.
Yeah, that was pretty epic, actually. I remember being not blown away exactly, because still Shakespeare, and I'm not a Shakespeare guy, but just, like, I thought it was really well done.
Well, Baz Luhrmann he's a really stunning cinematographer. So
yeah, it's definitely a pretty movie.
And what was the other one? Shit.
Was the other one?
Romeo and Juliet.
10 Things.
10 Things. It wasn't Macbeth. Hamlet? Was there a Hamlet? Was there a Hamlet?
That was The Lion King.
No, Hamlet. The Lion King is actually closer to Richard III.
No, The Lion King is Hamlet.
We're going to argue about this later.
Okay. But anyway, so yeah, the Buffy is being super drunk acting, and she goes to cheerleading practice, all hopped up on life, and she's really into it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and she chucks a girl across the room, like you do when you
Was
have
that a girl
Slayer
we
strike.
care about?
No. We do not give a good goddamn about that girl.
Okay, so I didn't lost her, and I remember I think someone on the Facebook thread said that Cordelia had a best friend named Harmony, but we don't see her, so I don't know if she's been cut.
Do not read Facebook threads. Stop it.
Well, we have to give a shout out to someone later about a Facebook thread, but
Okay, fine. But yeah, no Facebook threads for you. They will give away too much. You shouldn't even know about Harmony yet.
Okay, so they managed both Xander, who I learn is Alexander, and I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense because you're an emo little twat, and you don't want to be Alex, you want to be Xander, because it sounds like a bad guy in a Final Fantasy video game.
Or maybe it's what his mom called him when he was 3.
Maybe, I don't know. And Xander,
I don't know either, actually.
It's making a lot more sense now, but somehow they managed to overpower her and carry her off.
Yeah. Well, she just kind of goes limp after she realizes what she's done, and that's good because she could kill them all. Yeah, they drag her back to Giles, and then does she fall over?
Say that again?
They drag her back to the librarian to see Giles, and does she fall over or something? I forget what happens exactly.
I forget too.
I know she's jamming out, and then all of a sudden she's not.
Yeah. She kind of collapses.
And Giles is like, oh, shit, I know what this is.
This is a spell has been cast on her. So he decides that he can reverse it if he finds the spell book, because there will be notes on how to reverse it on the spell book, which is a pretty big assumption there, buddy.
Well, it's either that or cut the bitch's head off, and I don't think they have... She doesn't dust like vampires. They're going to be left with a corpse. That's the problem.
Speaking of dusting, clothes, why do they dust?
Clothes?
Clothes.
What? Oh, the clothes that the vampires are wearing.
I forgot to mention that in the last episode.
Okay. I think that they dust because anything not alive that close to a vampire that isn't like metal or wood or something that's, super solid is probably affected by the heat with which the vampires explode or implode or whatever the hell they're doing. So that is my completely made up, not at all scientific reason for why their clothes dust.
Okay. So they were gonna... What was gonna happen to Buffy if they did nothing?
She was gonna die in a couple hours.
Okay, so Giles takes her to Amy's house.
Yeah, because they need that book.
And Amy's not mom is there.
Yeah. Amy's mom's body is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, they're there, and Giles is like, you should take control of your daughter and take some kind of responsibility for this crap she's doing. And Amy mom body is just like, oh no, I can't stop her. She's a monster. And then Buffy sees the brownies and figures the whole thing out. Clever girl.
Yeah, and so poor Amy has been trapped in her mom's 40-something body.
And she doesn't mind. She gets to sit at home, watch soaps, eat junk food. What teenager doesn't want that? I bet she sleeps in.
Yeah, that would be nice. I needed that today. So yeah, and then does she show up here? Does Amy show up? I forget.
I forget too. I know.
Giles breaks in.
No, because Amy has to go cheer. So Amy's at school cheering, and they find the book and start the counter curse, right?
Yeah, that's what happens. And there's a fucking cat in the box.
Oh, of course there's always a creepy cat in the box when you're in some witch's basement.
Wait, what does the cat eat?
The rest of the newts. I mean, they only use the eye.
Okay, that's really gross. So
Cats eat all kinds of weird stuff.
cats are disgusting.
Yes, they are. I love them so much.
Yeah, so he starts to counter curse, and this is why I was like, okay, here's Giles actually taking some fucking charge and, making stuff happen and not being the adult who tells the Slayer what to do.
Yeah, I do like that Giles is very hands-on in this episode. It's nice that they have an adult, because that's something they talk about in the Harry Potter podcast, that, like, there are times when these kids are doing these things and you just wish to God they had a grown-up to just, like, tell them, don't do that. That's incredibly stupid. You'll just get hurt. No. We're going to go tell some authorities and just handle this shit. And, yeah, they do have an adult. And, he is a vigilante adult. Then they always have to fix the thing themselves. But it's nice to have a grown-up to tell.
Yeah, and I like that he admits that it's kind of a voyeurism on his part why he lives here.
Oh, yeah, the thing where he's, like, mad into the fact that, like, anything can happen. We're on a hell mouth.
It's something I was wondering if we were going to get an answer. I didn't think we'd get it that soon. Like, Giles, why the fuck are you here? And you're not on a mission to save the world. Like, no, he thinks it's interesting. So. Well,
and also, a Slayer needs a watcher. That's part of the lore or whatever. That, they're supposed to have someone to sit back and be all bookish while they go out and kick ass, because who has time for both?
Right. So they have the spell, and they decide to go to the science lab for some reason.
Because it's got the equipment they need. They can, like, Bunsen burners and things to mix potions in and measure. I mean, can you really think of a better place than a science lab if you need to measure?
Probably the room where she actually casts the spell. That would probably have what you need.
They don't know where she puts all her stuff. Okay. Like, in those rows of boxes, which one is the, I don't know, fairy dust?
Okay.
Which one's the
it's
basil
called
for
PCP.
Cooking? That's angel dust, bitch. But yeah, which one of these is the basil for cooking, and which one of these is the basil for spells?
Okay, so they go back to school because that's kind of home base. I'm getting the feeling we're going to spend a lot of time in the school.
Like I said, they only have so many sets. They already built the science lab.
Yeah, and then Amy shows up, or not Amy shows up, and
Amy's body shows up and is pissed off because their meddling caused her to mess up her cheerleading.
Yeah,
God knows that's important.
I didn't really buy this for the witch's motivation. I thought just, having life again would be enough. So.
Well, it sounds like that was the only time in her life she was happy, and that everything after that was disappointment. And so she wanted to do that again and maybe get it right this time and not marry a guy who doesn't end up making lots of money and,
I feel like if you're a witch, you should not peak in high school. That's a problem.
Yeah, I feel like she set her sights too low.
Mm-hmm.
Like, reliving your glory days? Really? Seriously? But there's also, they throw in a fair bit of hatred for her daughter and the need to, like, kind of reclaim that thing that she feels her daughter stole from her and was now frivolously frittering away.
Yeah.
So I think there's, like, a big pile of crazy pants mixed in with all those pom-poms.
Yeah, and so the fight goes down, and of course Buffy turns it out, and I missed how she managed to stop the curse. Was that a mirror they had in there for some reason?
Uh-huh. Oh, okay, so at public schools, when you're we can't afford, like, overhead projectors all the time, so when you want to see what your teacher is doing with their potions on the chemistry table, they have this big mirror that you can kind of angle so the rest of the class can see, okay, now I'm taking the green solution and pouring it into the here. And yeah, it's a tool for making sure everyone can see what you're doing with your with your
I get it. So at my school, like my chemistry teacher, he honestly looked like, I forget their names, but um, one of those old Muppets that sits in the balcony.
Oh, Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah, he looked like one of them. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah. Okay.
And he would just kind of grouch at us and just do it. You don't need to see it. I already told you how.
Yeah. Oh, he was Professor Snape.
No, he was not Professor Snape.
You had a potions master.
Fuck you for bringing up that traumatic event. Oh my god, I had so much faith that Snape was going to come around.
Quiet. We don't know who's unspoiled. You might not be the last one.
Fuck you for bringing that up.
I still haven't heard the podcast. Deep breaths. No one else knows. Okay, so yeah, Witch Amy tries to cast a spell that's gonna throw daughter Amy into, I don't know, a pit of despair or some shit. Like cast her away. And yeah, was it Buffy that pulls down the mirror and snaps the spell back on evil Amy, thereby casting her out and pretty much undoing all the magics that she has done thus far.
Right, and
so everything's back to normal, kids.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. But like I said, I'd sort of accepted that I was watching a cartoon because actually after we recorded the Harry Potter live reading last week that you all should totally be listening to, Roshan said, yeah, well, they weren't on a real-ass network. And those are her actual words, a real-ass network. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This was Fox, right? No, this was the CW.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, the CW before the WB merged with it and made this now.
So, the one with the WB was the one with the racist frog, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because, Warner Brothers has rights to the racist frog.
Because those are things you want to hold on to.
Well, Song of the South is a ride at Disneyland.
Yes, it is. So, and it's my favorite ride, so shut up.
Yeah. I used to work that ride. Are you kidding me? It's an awesome ride. But let's face it, Song of the South, not exactly a high point in equality in media.
Did you ever work Flash Mountain?
Oh, no, they contracted that out. Splash
Mountain.
Those of you that don't know, when you're on Splash Mountain, there's the big water slide at the end that your log goes down. It's terrifying. And they take your picture as you're screaming in horror, plunging to your doom. And so there's, as whenever you're taking pictures plunging to your doom, some people like to lift their shirt and show the world their boobies and get a picture of that for posterity. So Disney figured out that this was probably a bad idea to, have displayed proudly for you to purchase for the low, low price of $20 to, any people that were not the owners of those boobs. And so they installed people to kind of check out the photos before they went to the screens. And for a while, those were cast members. Those were people that worked for Disney until some of those photos were finding their way onto the internet. Ooh, that's pretty bad. So they hired outside contractors to be the screeners for Splash Mountain to avoid Flash Mountain. And then the stuff stopped getting on the internet as much, I'm going to say. But yeah.
One, I heard a rumor that they now have computer programs that basically do tit recognitions and block it without a human being. Is that true? Do you know?
I do not know. I know they're no longer using live people to do it.
Okay. And two...
So they have to be doing something because people don't just stop flashing their boobs. That's never going to happen.
And two, do man tits count?
I don't know. I think we should experiment with it.
We really should.
Mm-hmm.
So, road trip. We're all going to Disneyland.
Road trip. Yeah, it's about 6 miles away from me right now.
So, how did we get to flashing titties?
Because we were talking about things that are vaguely racist.
That's right, because we talked about the network. So yeah, Roshan said there's going to be a budget because at some point, like, it's not on a real-ass network yet. So, and I kind of love Roshan saying real-ass network.
Did she say this in the recording, or was this just...
Oh, no, this was us gabbing afterward.
God damn it, I miss everything. You should record that so I can take part later.
No, I don't have it.
Ah.
I needed the space. So,
Fool.
It was like a 2.5-hour recording. That was a long-ass file. So, we come to the end, and apparently Amy's dad has returned?
Yeah, because he only left because he couldn't stand her mom. Because her mom, let's face it, pretty awful.
I kind of got the feeling that her mom may have been casting some kind of love spell that stopped working.
I think she stopped maybe she cast a love spell. Maybe he just liked her because she was the head cheerleader and he was the captain of the football team, and that's what you do. But when he, like, never really made anything much of himself, or at least not by her standards, I think she probably stopped being nice. I mean, it doesn't have to be that insidious. It could just be that she was a bitch and now he could see it because he wasn't providing her with the thing that she wanted.
Yeah.
And so, because, I've never married that guy.
I've never been with someone that you fundamentally don't like, that you love. Like, yeah. So this has been Too Much Information with Bitches and Money.
You can edit it out if you want.
No, that's fine. I have had to edit some of the stories we say because neither of us have filters, but this one you guys are all getting. But I think it might be time to give some shout-outs and some plugs. How do you feel about that?
I feel good. Oh, wait, we have to do the closing line, though.
What's
So they're standing there looking at Mom's statue, and it's Buffy and Amy. And Buffy's like, so you're happy now? And Amy's like, yeah, I am. I got my dad. And so what are you going to do? She's like, they're walking away. I think I'm going to get really fat. And then it closes on the statue. And what do we see?
Well,
Did you
we
pick
see,
that up?
yeah, I picked it. Her eyes kind of glow, so she's stuck in the statue.
Yeah. And she can't talk, and she just has to watch a bunch of teenagers for all eternity. I love that.
Which is kind of, well, not for all eternity until Rancho Cucamonga decides to replace the statues with something.
Yeah, more relevant.
Exactly. And then she just gets to stare at...
the inside of a box.
Right.
Or maybe they'll melt her down.
You can't melt down brass paint over plastic, so let's be real here. But that also makes me wonder if, like, she's going to be there and someone's going to free her and have her as a pawn in their army at some point. And I also wonder how many other inanimate objects have souls trapped in them.
Well, it's Sunnydale. It could be anything. Mom, don't use that spatula. It's my friend Bobby.
I want to learn magic now so that I can find a terrible person and trap them in a dildo.
Ooh. And give it to, like, just, oh man, who would you use that dildo with?
Who would I use that dildo with?
Who would anyone use that dildo with? And do you tell them, hey, this is that dude you hate?
If it was someone super homophobic, I'd be a really hot guy like Jason Momoa. But if it was just your run-of-the-mill asshole, I would give it to some potluck lesbians in Connecticut.
Nice. Okay, but the problem with giving it to really homophobic people is that really homophobic people are inevitably secretly self-hating gay.
Yeah, but they don't want to have their head shoved up Jason Momoa's ass. Trust me, that's not a thing that people...
Fair enough.
Also, Jason Momoa has a really nice, firm ass. If he clenches, that shit's gonna hurt. So
this just in, guys. Being shoved head first up Jason Momoa's ass, whoever the fuck that is not, and I repeat, is not a thing. Ooh. Okay, yeah, I don't want to be shoved up his ass, but he is a pretty man.
Isn't
Holy
he?
crow.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so shout-outs and plugs.
So shout-outs. I put a little game on the patrons-only Facebook group. Last week you guys heard me being flippant about everyone's names, and I did learn their names, but I was just so annoyed. So I said, okay, here are the 6 people, the 6 names. It was Aquafina and ricotta and mayonnaise, and I said, I'll give you guys a shout out, the first person who can figure it out. And the rules of the game was that you would have to, like, you give your guesses, and I would only tell you how many you got right. I wouldn't tell you which ones. Now, apparently Roshan and Candace got home from work about the same time. So I was on my long walk home because I walk home from work. And they were really fucking going at it. Like, who the fuck is Saltine? Who? And both of them were tagging me, so I was on my phone in the Best Buy parking lot just trying to give everyone. And they thought Aylin had won for a second there, but it turned out Candace managed to put together a fucking Excel sheet, a color-coded one. And nailed it down and called it. So, Candace Solomon, you get our shout-out, lady.
Wow, go Candace. I had no idea it got that intense.
It really did. They were fucking, like, yeah. So,
I think we need to do more of these games. That's super fun.
Yeah, so I'm going to start thinking about games, and I
will also do my best to think about games.
So, yeah, Candace, good job. Roshan, good job on being second. I know you would have figured it out at some point. And, girl, I know you're still salty.
Yeah, so she gets to be first alternate. See? It all comes full circle.
Oh, we forgot to mention there were some black extras on the cheerleading lineup.
Were there?
Yes.
Huh.
There were 2 of them, actually, but they still don't have any lines, but progress, I guess.
Sure. It's a product of its time, guys. All right, so plugs.
We're not ready for plugs yet. I'm actually going.
We're not ready? There's more?
Yeah, I'm trying to get our iTunes page.
Do we have a review? It's been up for like 6 minutes.
I want to check and see if we have a review. I should have.
We don't have any reviews. I've barely downloaded it. I haven't even listened to us yet.
Okay, we don't have any reviews, and you guys, if you like us, leave a fucking review and make it fun.
Yeah.
If any of you are fans of us from Alias, like David Higgins wrote a fucking amazing review, and he will go down in history. It's like Yelp needs to hire that man. So
yeah, I'm gonna buy him a beer if ever we meet.
So yeah,
and we could meet because I'm sure you all have heard by now that I help to run a science fiction convention, and it's called LostCon, and it's at the LAX Marriott every Thanksgiving weekend. That's right. You can escape your parents' house and reward yourself for not punching anybody at the dinner table when they started talking about politics by going to a Shangri-La of fellow nerds who are all as Buffy obsessed as we are. If you're listening to this podcast, obviously you have the same taste in science fiction and fantasy that I do, and you should go to LostCon. That's right, LOSCON.org. Check it out. We're really fun. Your turn. I lost you, man. You're just gone.
Sorry, I'm here. The only thing I have to plug is Unspoiled, which you're clearly listening to. So we are unscrupled because we're strangely, there's someone, we give less fucks than Natasha when we're on the air. But Natasha is amazing. She's put together a podcast empire. She's covering everything you love. We mentioned Harry Potter. She's also covering The Leftovers, and her mind is just going to get fucking blown pretty soon. And if you become a patron, you should get your HBO out and watch it.
Okay, fine. Anyway,
but if you want to support us, if you want to keep us in cheap wine and microphone socks that we keep losing, you can become a patron at patreon.com/unspoiled, and you get access to a whole bunch of cool stuff. Not only do you get all the regular podcasts a day early, or sometimes if me or Natasha is feeling a little lazy and we don't actually get them up, it's like 3 or 4 days early. So, but you also get access to the bonus content. Natasha is constantly running a single patrons-only podcast. Right now it's The Walking Dead graphic novels with yours truly. And it's going to come up to be Luke Cage when that comes out, and then I think after that is Twin Peaks. So a lot of stuff going on. You also get access to the Patrons Only Facebook group, and it's a whole lot of fun. Like I waste a lot of productive hours at work just dicking around in the Facebook group. So
it's definitely worth your money. And really, guys, I seriously have an old sock that I cut up and tied on with a hair tie. And I don't have hair ties, guys, because I don't have hair. So I had to go find one of my brother's girlfriend's hair ties just to tie a sock on my microphone because I care about you. So help me buy some mic socks, please. I don't want my S's to be slurry. I don't want to breathe into the microphone every time I have to say snake.
So those are our plugs, and I think we meander a lot. So
I like our meanderings. They remind me of us.
And I hope you guys do too, clearly, because you've been listening to us for over a fucking hour now. So
yeah, we have been talking a bit. So this has been the Witch episode of Buffy, episode 3. Next week it's going to be episode 4 because I think we got enough content out of just one episode to try this again and see how it goes. I might double up some as we go forward, and I need to keep money interested. But for right now, we're going to do episode 4 next week. So come on back.
So, yeah, and if you have opinions on this, comment on, like, when we post the episode on the Facebook page, on the Unspoiled Podcast Facebook page. If you have opinions on which order we should go, do it on the blog. Just give us feedback. Because, we like to do what you guys want to hear. And if that means me hate casting and rage-gasming over how bad this show is, let us know. That's what happened last week, so...
There will be some episodes that you will loathe, and I look forward to them because you're going to flip out. But that's okay. But there's also going to be some episodes that you're going to, like, you almost enjoyed this. You were pretty close.
Yeah, it came close. I did not hate it. Actively not hating it's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that's a step in the right direction, I think. Anyway, anything else?
Nope, I think we are good, so let's say goodbye, bitches.
Goodbye, money. Goodbye, listeners.
Bye.
Bye.